Hey, I'm here in Las Vegas with Jason Hartman, good buddy of mine. Jason is a real estate expert. He's also an amazing entrepreneur. He's here to interview me today, though.
Yes, I got to interview this guy because this guy is totally amazing. So Nick Kho is probably the most connected person I know, or at least one of them. He is truly an amazing networker, an amazing business person, and has developed into all sorts of new areas and keeps developing more. You know, Nick, the founder of the McDonald's franchise system, Ray Kroc, had a great saying. He said, well, I don't know if it was his saying even, but he used to love this quote. As long as you're green, you're growing. As soon as you're ripe, you begin to rot. And you are always growing. You are always growing into something else. What is your philosophy on life, or philosophy about growth? And you know, I mean, you're doing so much stuff. It's really
yeah. I mean, continual education. Coming from a family where my father was a university president, my mom was a teacher. I came from a family where education was the most important thing above everything except for family itself.
Right.
So as a result, I've been in college now for 15 years just learning. Not because I have to, but because I believe that as an entrepreneur, you should always be learning.
He's got more degrees than a thermometer. So education is one of your core beliefs then? Yeah.
Definitely.
That's certainly important. But, you know, tell us about, I mean, it doesn't seem like you use your education much in your, maybe you do in business.
Well, you might be surprised because, yeah. I mean, the education that I'm taking right now is about law. And we have a lot of challenges in terms of like contracts, visas, but also in terms of understanding humanity, storytelling. Right. So I mean, a lot of the classes I'm taking about law allows you to understand what conflicts and resolutions that need to be resolved. We're working on a story now for a theater show,
right.
And also for videos, and also for pretty much everything that we do in terms of storytelling in and of itself.
Storytelling, very important skill.
Yeah, understanding universal themes has been really powerful, and I think, ironically, studying law allows us to understand that a little bit better, allows me to understand it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Business has definitely been useful.
And that you're going to Harvard, I mean, that doesn't hurt either, right? That's a pretty good law school.
Met some amazing people.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So,
I think that when you surround yourself with people that inspire you, it definitely helps more than anything. Right now, we were just here at Tony Hsieh's place, and we were hanging out with him.
Founder of Zappos and sold to Amazon.com for somewhere in the neighborhood of $1 billion, give or take.
Yeah, and the thing is, I wasn't there necessarily to network with business people.
Right.
I was just there to hang out.
Right.
But I met people from the music world that I'm bringing to the music studio tomorrow. And just having the right people around me all the time is so important. Someone yesterday met with me, and they were saying they didn't like how I was collecting people. And I said, well, look, it's not really collecting people. I'm offering more value to people than they're offering to me, and they want to be a part of what I'm doing. I'm always trying to do that as a core concept, a core principle.
I would totally agree with you. You offer value first. You're a giver. I mean, you really are very generous with your contacts, with your ideas, with your connections. So that would be one of your core secrets, if you will.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the things I try to do more than anything is, how can I help this person? Is it with getting them access to something that's really cool that they wouldn't typically pay for themselves and getting it for them? I mean, or is it introducing them to someone that could really inspire them or take their business or career or goals to the next level? And that's the two things I focus on more than anything else. One of the guys who's an advisor is our mutual friend, Torn Pavia.
Sure, yeah.
And one of the things he does for his board advisors is that he'll have guys who are the president of McDonald's, like, you know, we were talking about Roy Kroc in the past, or the president of the McDonald's Foundations, or the president of Oakley, the president of Quicksilver.
Sure.
So when you have people that can afford to buy anything, what can you give these kind of people to offer value for their lives? Now, the funny thing is, a lot of these people don't want to buy flashy things. For example, what he did to get these people on the board of his company, he has a $200 million a year company. He got them each a lease on a Bentley. And that gave him an opportunity to have these guys working part-time for his company, which is pretty amazing. Now, for other people, it's not necessarily that big and that flashy. It might be tickets to a cool event that they don't want to spend on themselves personally. A lot of people don't want to spend, surprisingly, even on their relationships. I know guys who are famous celebrities. They make $2 to $4 million a year. And when I talk to them about taking their girls to the spa, and they think it's expensive. I'm like, well, your girl has been asking you to take her to the spa. And then he's saying that he has relationship problems. I think it's amazing.
Yeah, right. That's pretty amazing. It really is. Okay, so you know, like you look at a guy like Tony Hsieh, right? You go to this brunch almost. I mean, you go
every
all
week.
the time, almost every week, and you know, it's always a really interesting brunch. But you know, Tony Hsieh is like the least flashy rich guy I think I've ever met, right? You know, he's very. You know, so when you talk about helping people get things they can't or won't buy, any more expansion on that? And you have a cool product on this.
So when people are, I mean, Tony's a really down-to-earth guy, and I think I'm pretty down-to-earth in terms of like how I dress. I'm not like the typical RC instructor dressing out to go to the bars. I'm usually just to go out to like play some golf or something,
right.
you know, or I'll wear a hoodie. I'm ready out of my pajamas, and that's pretty much it.
He's following that's the Mark Zuckerberg look, you know.
Yeah. Well, I don't usually wear a suit. A lot of people will do that. I'm down to earth, and for the most part. But I do like having access to really cool, fun, awesome things. I mean, we talk all the time about fun, cool things we could do, ways we could expand our adventures, like meet people.
Absolutely. Yacht Week.
But in terms of like what we do, in terms of like connecting people and offering value, I think the concept that we basically built RSD on in terms of higher value, in terms of offering value, in terms of your personality and giving and what have you, is probably the biggest part of everything. It's not necessarily just connecting people with things they want for their career, but it's connecting with people on a personal level. So I mean, a lot of what RSD is about conveying that higher value to other people, because one of the reasons why Tony dresses so down to earth is because he wants to hang out with people who are weirdos like myself. Weirdos who are not with ulterior motives for some kind of business thing. And I think that even myself, I prefer that as well.
So Nick, you actually have an info product on this, and I've looked at that and I learned a lot from it. It's called, I think, Foundations or something?
Yeah, this is the RSC Founders Club.
Yeah, Founders Club, yeah.
Basically what I did is
the concept of that? I mean,
well, I've wanted a way where I could explain kind of like my ethos in terms of business, but also interview the people that I think have been most influential on my life, including my instructors or those people outside of RSD that have been really influential, like Larry Benet, who is like a super networker, who's been a great inspiration, or people that have been involved with mentoring us throughout the whole process. We even have an interview with some instructors that aren't really public facing, like Derek. We turned him into a South Park cartoon. You know? But I did that because so many of the principles what we teach within Real Social Dynamics apply towards networking, business, whether it's mindsets, whether it's the outer game tactics of socialization, the dynamics of how you convey yourself, the values. I think a lot of that can be applied for multiple things. So I created RSD Founders Club to kind of relay that and transfer those skills. A lot of what I wanted to do was kind of gauge our audience in terms of how they're applying the skills that they're learning in pickup outside of their lives, and then eventually build a business line focusing on the higher purpose aspects of what we teach and showing that applies to business. In fact, Owen's creating a self-improvement channel that's just in self-improvement. Max and Julian are doing the same thing, and so other instructors are kind of following suit. But I wanted to do it in the sense that most of what I've been doing hasn't been involving the RSD curriculum. It's been building the RSD business. And I want to do that within this series of doing it for what we call the hot seat infield style videos for sales and business. And I'm really excited about that.
That's a great idea, by the way. I just want to tell you
I think that we're going to make some amazing YouTube videos for that. I think we're also going to create some amazing programs.
Very powerful version of Candid Camera, the old show, you know.
But I think it's not just sales for actually commercial sales. It also be sales for yourself when you're actually trying to network with people, not necessarily for pickup, but outside that as well. And the whole company, what we did, the whole massive Rolodex that I built, has been what's allowed us to do a lot of things that we're allowed to do. The massive mansion we have where we have influencer events, the collaborations and partnerships on social media.
Hills, the LA mansion.
That's right,
that place is unbelievable.
And when you go to that event, or if you go to that place, it's an event. Every hour I'm there, there's another dozen people, random people there networking with us and collaborating and helping us out, not just the RSD side, but pretty much all fronts, the inspiration, the ideas, the brainstorming, and just having awesome friendships with people that are just killing it. What I appreciate more than anything is also just being surrounded by people who are just hustling, killing it in business and their personal life.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you that that's one of my addictions. Is I love being around entrepreneurs that are just doing things that are changing the world, that are impacting, you know, having all this impact. And you hang out with a lot of social entrepreneurs and a lot of people doing just amazing things, truly amazing things. Any other principles or like foundational concepts you want to share about that?
Well, yeah, I think that in terms of networking, in terms of the principles of reaching out to people, a lot of people won't do it because they view themselves as like being below this celebrity, like they're like here and the celebrity is here. the thing is, everyone is kind of on an even playing ground. When you hang out with people, everyone's like the same. There's people, right?
Right.
And when you have that mindset, when you go up to somebody and you're just trying to offer as much value as you can, regardless of whether it's more than what they can offer you,
Right.
you have that mentality. These are the kind of people that are more likely to want to hang out with you. And I think that's probably the most important thing, because fear of rejection in pickup is the same when you're outside of pickup.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I call it life's most important skill. I mean, would you agree with that, by the way? I'm thinking you would.
I definitely think that for me, because for me to kind of define my identity of who I think I am and who I want to be, it's been a series of people that have ran into me in these random collisions of inspiration that have inspired me to become a different kind of person.
Right.
And all that was done through cold approach. Me and my wife, me and my business partner, being you or any other friend,
Right.
has all been about putting myself out there and networking with other people. So people just gotta have that as a priority. Most people don't even have that as a priority. Not just like the number one priority, but a priority that you're putting out there.
It's not even there. It's not even on the list. So first of all, make it a priority. Do it with method and intention, right? That would be part of it. You know, I could imagine someone hearing this or hearing any of these other materials and say, "Well, isn't that being like inauthentic?" I mean, if that's not
you got to
really
be,
I mean,
you got to be true to yourself. I mean, one of the concepts we talk about more than anything else is the concept of bridging the congruency gap of who people think you are and who you are,
Right.
and making that difference as small as possible is super important. It's very hard to, because you're always trying to finesse when you're trying to sell something, or trying to finesse when you're trying to convey yourself. Especially if you're in a position where you're with people that are working on a higher playing field. You want to figure out ways where you can add value to them and make sure they understand that you're willing to put yourself out there. But at the same time, you got to be true to yourself, because people could read through your core. I mean, there's a whole group of people that I'll hang out with just because they have great personalities.
Right.
But I consider themselves like court jesters, or the clown class, where you're great personalities, they entertain you, but they're full of a bunch of you know, baloney in terms of like how they're representing themselves. You don't want to fall into that category. Also, it's very easy to fall into that category.
Yeah, there's this old thing about like being yourself is sort of this crazy dumb idea that's been completely you know, misquoted, that concept.
Yeah, I mean, I think
it's
that
like be your best self, right?
You want to be your best self. You also want to add some finesse. I mean, at the same time, like, one of the things that I think that I also will do is also do a lot of accidental hyperbole, because I do want to try to make things sound better and cooler than they are, and try to finesse it with style and manner. And that's also why I don't have a problem hanging out with a lot of people who do it to too far of an extreme. But you got to learn how far you could go without crossing that line, because you can make an event sound cool, like, oh, this is the coolest event ever. They have the coolest milkshakes that give you an orgasm every time you talk. Now that's hyperbole. But the difference between that and saying, hey, you got to be at this cool event because King George is going to be there and there's no King George, that's just a fucking lie. So you got to understand the difference between the two, you know? I think that you just got to have some style. I also think that, yeah, you got to have your authentic self shine through, but at the same time, you should have some style and flair to your features and benefits. I mean, when you're advertising or marketing something, you don't want it to sound boring. And yeah, you could have analogies and metaphors and funny, like vivid imagery about what you're trying to sell, whether it's about yourself or a product. But I think you do got to understand, you know, the line across. Calibration is key with everything you do.
Good stuff, man. Well, this is one of the world's master networkers right here. You just heard it from Mr. Nick Kho himself. Thanks, Nick.
Cheers. Thanks, bro.